The scent of pine and a gathering winter storm hits me first. It is the scent of power, of authority, of the alpha who commands this territory and every soul within it. To the others, it is a scent of security, of leadership. To me, an omega with no wolf of my own, it is a scent of fear. It is the smell of the boot that is perpetually on my neck. My existence is a quiet one, lived in the shadows of the Blackwood pack. I am Ilara, the wolfless, the lowest of the low, a servant in the house of the great Alpha Riker. Today is the annual Alphas Conclave, a grand affair where packs from across the continent gather, and my invisibility is my only shield. I move through the throngs of powerful bodies, my tray of iced cider held steady, my eyes perpetually downcast. To be seen is to be judged, and to be judged is to be found wanting. I keep to the edges of the great hall, refilling goblets, clearing away plates, my movements practiced and silent. The air is thick with the competing scents of dozens of powerful wolves, a cacophony of earthy musk, sharp ozone, and sweet florals that makes my head swim. I am a ghost here, a necessary but unseen function of the pack. My own scent is muted, a faint whisper of rain and wild moonflower, easily lost in the olfactory roar. It is for the best. A weak scent marks a weak wolf, and I am not even that. I am a blank space, a nullity in a world defined by primal connection. The ache of it is a familiar companion, a hollow space in my chest where a wolf's heart should be beating in time with my own. A commotion near the high table draws my attention. Alpha Riker stands, his presence a physical force that commands the room. He is everything an alpha should be. Tall, broad-shouldered, with eyes the color of molten gold and hair as black as a raven's wing. His power radiates from him in palpable waves, a weight that settles over the hall and silences the chatter. He is magnificent, and he is terrifying. He raises his goblet, his voice a low rumble that vibrates through the floorboards and up my spine. He speaks of unity, of strength, of the future of our people. I should be looking down, but for a foolish, breathless moment, I watch him. I watch the way the firelight plays on the sharp planes of his face, the easy confidence in his posture. I allow myself a tiny secret fantasy, what it would be like to be seen by such a man, not as a servant, but as someone who mattered. The fantasy shatters as a hulking beta from the Stone River pack stumbles backward, jostled by his laughing comrades. He crashes into me. The tray flies from my hands, sending a shower of sticky cider and shattered crystal across the stone floor. A collective gasp ripples through the hall. Every eye, once fixed on the alpha, now swivels to me. I am on my hands and knees, scrambling to pick up the shards of glass, my face burning with a shame so hot it feels like it could peel my skin off. I am no longer invisible. I am the center of a disaster, a clumsy omega who has disrupted the alpha's speech. Get this pathetic creature out of my sight, the Stone River Beta growls, his lip curled in disgust. My world narrows to the glittering fragments of glass on the floor. I hear murmurs rippling through the crowd. Wolfless, Omega filth. The words are stones pelting my already bruised spirit. I just need to clean this up, disappear, back into the shadows, and pray I am not punished too severely. My fingers tremble as I gather the largest pieces, a small cut on my thumb welling with a single drop of red. Then the world stops. The cacophony of scents vanishes, replaced by one. Pine, winter, storm. It is not just in the air anymore. It is inside me, a blizzard roaring through my veins, a forest growing in my lungs. It is overwhelming, suffocating, intoxicating. My head snaps up, my eyes locking across the room with his. Alpha Riker is staring at me, his golden eyes wide with shock. The goblet has slipped from his fingers, clattering unheeded to the floor. The scent of him is a physical chain, pulling me toward him, and I know, with a certainty that terrifies and exhilarates me, that he smells it too. The faint, overlooked fragrance of moonflower and rain, now blooming into a storm of its own, a scent made just for him. Mate. The word is not spoken. It is a primal scream that echoes in the silent space between our souls. For a dizzying, impossible second, I see it in his eyes. The same stunned recognition, the same dawning wonder, the wolfless Omega and the mighty Alpha. The universe, in its infinite and cruel wisdom, has bound us together. Hope, a feeling I thought I had long since buried, unfurls in my chest like a fragile bloom. The hollow space inside me is suddenly full, overflowing with a feeling so powerful it brings tears to my eyes. He sees me. The Alpha, my mate, finally sees me. The moment stretches, a fragile thread of impossible connection in a hall filled with wolves who would see it severed. Riker takes a half step forward, his gaze locked on mine. The world seems to hold its breath. My heart hammers against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat of hope and terror. This could be my salvation. This could be my utter ruin. Then, I see his jaw tighten. I see the flicker of shock in his eyes curdle into something else, something cold and calculating. He glances at the assembled alphas, their faces a mixture of confusion and predatory interest. He sees their judgment, feels the weight of their expectations. An alpha's mate is his strength, his queen, the future of his line. And the goddess, in her sick humor, has given him me, a wolfless Omega, a flaw, a weakness. The fragile thread of hope snaps. The warmth in my chest turns to ice. I see the decision in his eyes before he even speaks. Pride, cold and hard and unforgiving, wins. He straightens to his full, imposing height, his face becoming a mask of detached authority. The connection between us is still thrumming, a live wire of pain and longing, but he is already severing it, piece by piece. His voice, when it comes, is not the rumble of a mate recognizing his other half. It is the cold, sharp crack of a judge passing sentence. He raises his hand, not to beckon me, but to dismiss me, to point me out as an object of scorn. I, Alpha Riker of the Blackwood Pack, he declares, his voice ringing with a finality that echoes in the sudden, tomb-like silence of the hall. Reject this wolfless Omega Ilara as my mate and Luna. Each word is a physical blow, more brutal than any fist. Reject. The word hammers into me, shattering the fragile hope that had dared to bloom. Wolfless. He names my greatest shame, my deepest inadequacy, and holds it up for all to see. Omega. He defines me by my lowest status, stripping me of any other identity. The bond between us, which had sung with such promise only moments before, shrieks in agony. The pain is not emotional. It is a physical tearing sensation in the center of my soul. It rips through my chest, stealing my breath, and I collapse back onto the floor, clutching my heart as if to hold myself together. A wave of shocked murmurs and cruel laughter washes over me. I am a spectacle, the Alpha's rejected mate, a cautionary tale. The shame from before is a pale ghost compared to this all-consuming mortification. From the corner of my eye, I see Riker's father, the stern former Alpha, nod in grim approval. Riker made the right choice for the pack, for the bloodline. He chose strength over the fate's ludicrous mistake. He does not look at me again. He turns his back, a gesture more final than any spoken word, and resumes his address, as if I am nothing more than the shattered glass I still kneel in. The pain is a white-hot fire, a gaping wound that I know will never heal. He has not just rejected me, he has unmade me. He has taken the one thing that could have defined me, the one connection that mattered, and publicly ground it to dust. The scent of pine and winter storm is no longer a promise. It is the smell of my own personal hell, a constant reminder of the man who looked at my soul and declared it worthless. I stay on the floor, unable to move, unable to breathe, as the world I thought I knew crumbles into ashes around me. My own pack members, the wolves I have served my entire life, avert their eyes. No one helps me up. No one offers a kind word. To them, I am tainted, a walking symbol of rejection. I am the alpha's shame, and they want nothing to do with me. Two guards, their faces impassive stone, haul me to my feet. Their touch is rough, impersonal. They do not take me to the servants' quarters or the healers. They drag me toward the edge of the packlands. Alpha's orders. One of them grunts, his voice devoid of pity. You are no longer welcome here. You are packless, unclaimed. They shove me past the scent-marked border, the magical boundary that separates home from the harsh wilderness. I stumble and fall onto the cold, unforgiving earth. The familiar scents of my home, of wood smoke and pack and belonging, are cut off as if by a knife. I am outside. I am alone. Exile. The final nail in the coffin of my existence. I lie there, the raw, gnawing pain of the broken bond a living thing inside me. And for the first time, I understand what it is to be truly, utterly alone. The howls of my former pack rise in the distance, a song of unity I am no longer part of. I press my face into the dirt and weep. The first few days are a blur of pain. The ache of the rejected bond is a constant physical agony, a fire banked deep in my sternum that never stops burning. Every breath is an effort. Every beat of my heart is a reminder of the half of my soul that was torn away and discarded. The scent of pine and winter storm haunts me, a phantom limb I can still feel. It drifts on the wind, a cruel trick of my memory, making me freeze and look around with a desperate, foolish flicker of hope before the reality of my situation crashes back down. I wander aimlessly through the dense, unfamiliar forest. Hunger is a dull ache at first, then a sharp, cramping demand. I chew on tasteless roots and bitter leaves, my stomach rebelling. I drink from streams, the water so cold it makes my teeth ache. At night, I huddle under the roots of ancient trees, shivering, listening to the unfamiliar sounds of the deep woods. The snap of a twig could be a predator, the hoot of an owl a harbinger of doom. I have no wolf to guide me, no heightened senses to warn me of danger. I am soft, weak, human fragile in a world of claws and teeth. I am prey. On the fifth day, a cold, driving rain begins to fall. It soaks through my thin servant's tunic in minutes, leaching the warmth from my body until my teeth chatter uncontrollably. I find a shallow overhang of rock, not quite a cave, and curl into a miserable ball, my limbs shaking. The fire in my chest rages, a stark contrast to the creeping, deadly cold in my extremities. This is it. This is how I die. Rejected, exiled, and forgotten. Alone in the mud, freezing to death while the man who is my other half feasts in his warm hall, surrounded by his strong, worthy pack. A bitter, ugly resentment begins to bubble up through the layers of my despair. He did this. Riker did this. He sentenced me to this slow, miserable death to preserve his own pride. He looked at me and saw only weakness, a blemish on his perfect alpha image. He never even tried to feel the bond, to see past the wolfless shell to the person beneath. He just threw me away like trash. As the cold seeps deeper into my bones and my shivering begins to subside into a dangerous stillness, a different feeling stirs within me. It is not hope. It is something harder, sharper. It is rage, a furious, defiant anger that I have never allowed myself to feel before. I have spent my entire life being quiet, being meek, being invisible. I have accepted my place at the bottom, never questioning, never fighting back. And what has it gotten me? This, a cold, lonely death. No. The word is a silent snarl in my mind, but it feels like a physical jolt. It is not my voice. It is something deeper, something ancient and dormant that my pain has finally awakened. A tiny, defiant ember begins to glow in the cold, dead ashes of my spirit. I will not die here. I will not give him the satisfaction of my demise. I will not let his rejection be the final word of my story. Survive, the voice whispers again, stronger this time. It is a command. It fuels the ember of my rage into a small, flickering flame. Survive! I push myself up, my muscles screaming in protest. My limbs are heavy, my head swims with exhaustion, but I force myself to move. I tear strips from the hem of my tunic, my fingers clumsy and numb, and bind my freezing feet. I break off a sturdy branch to use as a walking stick and a rudimentary weapon. I will not die. I will live out of pure, unadulterated spite. I will live to see the day he regrets what he has done. That single, burning thought becomes my new reason for being. It is the first choice I have made for myself in my entire life, the choice to survive. The seasons turned. Summer bled into a crisp, unforgiving autumn, and autumn gave way to the deep freeze of winter. The wilderness became my crucible, and I was forged anew in its harsh fires. The soft Omega servant was burned away, leaving behind someone leaner, harder, and infinitely more dangerous. I learned the language of the forest, the rustle of leaves that meant a squirrel, the heavier tread that meant a deer, the predatory silence that meant a cougar was near. My senses, denied a wolf's enhancement, sharpened on their own, honed by the constant pressing need for survival. I learned to track, to set snares, to find shelter. I learned which berries were poison and which mushrooms could sustain me. My hands, once soft from service, became calloused and capable. My body, once thin and weak, became corded with muscle. The girl who was afraid of her own shadow died in that forest, and a survivor was born in her place. The pain of the bond never truly left. It was a dull, constant ache now, a scar on my soul that twinged with the changing weather. The phantom scent of pine and winter storm still ambushed me at times, but now it no longer brought me to my knees. Instead, it fueled the cold, hard rage that had become the core of my being. It was a reminder of my goal, not just to survive, but to thrive, to become someone he could never again dismiss. One evening, as the first snows of winter began to dust the mountaintops, I was cornered. I had been tracking a rabbit when a shadow detached itself from the deeper shadows of the trees. It was not a wolf or a bear. It was something wrong, something unnatural. It was a creature of nightmare, all shifting smoke and too many limbs, with eyes that glowed with a malevolent red light. It moved without a sound, and the air around it grew cold, carrying a scent of dust and decay. It was a whispering wraith, a creature of legend I had only heard about in terrifying pack stories told to frighten pups. Fear, cold and absolute, seized me. I scrambled backward, my hand reaching for the hunting knife at my belt. It felt like a child's toy against such a monstrosity. The wraith drifted closer, its form coalescing into something vaguely wolf-like, but twisted, corrupted. It opened a maw that was a gash of pure darkness and let out a soundless scream that echoed directly in my mind, a psychic assault of terror and despair. My knees buckled. My hard-won survival instinct screamed at me to run, but I was frozen, mesmerized by the hypnotic horror of it. This was an enemy I could not outrun, a foe I could not fight. Just as I resigned myself to a death far more terrifying than freezing in the mud, the ancient voice inside me roared to life. Enough. It was not a whisper this time. It was a command that vibrated through my entire being, and with it came a surge of power so immense it felt like lightning had struck me. It was not the borrowed power of a wolf. It was my own. It erupted from the core of my being, a torrent of pure, silvery light that exploded from my body. The light was cool and brilliant, like the full moon on a frozen lake. It slammed into the wraith, and the creature recoiled, its silent scream turning into a genuine shriek of pain. The darkness of its body sizzled and smoked where my light touched it. I stared at my hands, which were glowing with a soft lunar luminescence. The power hummed under my skin, a wild, untamed river that had finally broken its dam. I was not wolfless. I was something else entirely. The stories were wrong. The lack of a wolf was not a deficiency. It was the sign of something different, something more. I felt a new sense of self settle into my bones, a certainty that replaced the shame I had carried for so long. Filled with a sudden, instinctual knowledge, I raised my glowing hands and pushed the light outward. It formed a protective sphere around me, and where its edge touched the wraith, the creature dissolved like smoke in the wind, leaving behind nothing but the scent of old dust and a lingering, unnatural chill. I stood there, panting, in the sudden silence of the forest, bathed in the fading glow of my own power. I was a lunar blessed, a wielder of moon magic, a lineage thought to have died out centuries ago. And my power, I realized with a grim satisfaction, was the one thing in the world that could destroy the creatures of shadow. The wolfless Omega was gone. In her place stood a weapon, and I knew with chilling certainty exactly who I would one day be pointing it at. I spent the rest of the winter in the high mountains, far from any pack territory. There, in the solitude of the snow-covered peaks, I began to train. The power was wild, instinctual, but it listened to me. I learned to call it, to shape it, to feel its ebb and flow with the phases of the moon. Under the full moon, I was a goddess of silver fire, able to level trees with a gesture. Under the new moon, my power was quieter, more subtle, a tool for healing and scrying. I healed the scars on my body, but the one on my soul remained. I was no longer just a survivor. I was becoming a ruler of my own small, lonely kingdom. I was no longer Ilara the Omega. I was Ilara, the last of the lunar blessed, and the world would soon learn to fear my name. My beast is going to kill me. From the moment the words of rejection left my mouth, my lichen, the other half of my soul, turned on me. The pride and power I felt in that moment placating the old guard and securing my image as a strong alpha, lasted less than a second. It evaporated the instant I turned my back on her, on the scent of moonflower and rain that was my soul's true north. A chasm of wrongness opened up inside me, a void where her presence should have been. Mistake. The word was a low growl in the back of my mind, my lichen's first utterance since the rejection. It was not a suggestion. It was a judgment. He had been screaming, "Mine, mate, ours." From the second her scent had bloomed in the hall, and I had silenced him, I had chosen pride. I had chosen logic. I had chosen the pack's perceived strength over the instinct that was the very core of my being. And now, I was paying the price. Sleep offers no escape. Every time I close my eyes, I see her face. I see the dawning hope, the shock, the utter devastation as my words struck her down. I wake up clawing at the sheets, my heart pounding, the scent of her filling my senses only to vanish, leaving the cloying emptiness of my solitary room. My lichen paces the cage of my mind, a relentless, furious beast. He throws himself against the bars of my control, roaring his outrage, his grief. Fool! Weak! You threw her away. Our mate, ours. The torment is constant. Food tastes like ash. The finest wines are vinegar on my tongue. I sit in council meetings discussing pack business, but my mind is leagues away, lost in a cold forest, wondering if she is alive, if she is warm, if she is safe. The thought that she might not be is a physical pain, a knife twisting in my gut. My father claps me on the shoulder, tells me I did the right thing. A wolfless Omega would have been a cancer in this pack, son. You showed true alpha strength. His words feel like poison. My strength is a facade. Inside I am crumbling. I try to move on. I try to force the bond into submission. My father arranges for me to spend time with a high-ranking she-wolf from an allied pack. A beautiful, strong wolf with a perfect pedigree. Her scent, a pleasant mix of cinnamon and musk, should be appealing. But when she touches my arm, a wave of revulsion so powerful it chokes me, washes over me. My lichen snarls, a feral possessive sound. Not mate, wrong. I recoil from her as if burned, leaving her shocked and insulted. I spend the rest of the night emptying the contents of my stomach in the privacy of my own chambers. There is no one else. There will never be anyone else. My beast will not allow it. He has sentenced me to a living death, a solitary hell of my own making. Months pass. My pack feels my distraction. My decisions are harsher, my temper shorter. My control, the hallmark of a great alpha, is fraying at the edges. Patrols report strange sightings on our borders, shadow creatures that leave no tracks and radiate a palpable cold. The elders dismiss them as old tales, but I feel a growing dread. It is as if the world itself is growing darker, mirroring the decay within my own soul. I stand on the balcony of my fortress, staring out at the vast, dark forest that swallowed her, and I am the one who feels exiled. I am the Alpha, the king of all I survey, and I have never been more powerless. The scent of pine and winter storm that once defined my power now feels like the scent of a cage, and I am its only prisoner. My travels eventually lead me south, to the sun-drenched lands of the Silver Moon Pack. I am cautious at first, a lone woman with a dangerous secret. But rumors of the shadow creatures, the whispering wraiths, have spread, and my unique ability to fight them is a valuable commodity. I do not seek a pack, but I find a welcome. Alpha Kyle of the Silver Moon Pack is nothing like Riker. Where Riker is a storm, Kyle is a steady fire. He is quiet, thoughtful, with kind eyes the color of warm earth. He was at the conclave. He saw the rejection. What Alpha Riker did was an act of cowardice, not strength, he tells me one evening, as we sit watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and purple. His scent, hearth smoke and old leather, is comforting, safe. It does not ignite the firestorm Riker's does, but it does not cause me pain either. It is simply pleasant. He saw a jewel and called it a stone because he was afraid of its brilliance. Kal offers me sanctuary, a place of honor in his pack. He does not ask for anything in return. He sees the power I wield, not as a threat, but as a gift. He asks for my counsel in dealing with the wraiths, treating me as an equal, a respected advisor. For the first time since my exile, I feel the tight knot of tension in my shoulders begin to loosen. His wolves look at me not with pity or scorn, but with awe. Here, I am not the rejected mate, the wolfless Omega. I am the lunar blessed, their greatest hope against the encroaching darkness. Under Kale's patient tutelage, I learn about pack life again, but from a position of strength. I train his warriors, teaching them how to anticipate the wraith's movements, how to protect themselves from the psychic despair they project, until I can arrive to deliver the final blow. I am wanted. I am needed. I am, for the first time, respected. Kale makes no secret of his admiration. He is a good man, a kind alpha. He represents a life I never thought I could have. A life of peace, of acceptance, of quiet contentment. He is the safe harbor, the logical choice. My mind tells me he is the answer to all my prayers, but my soul, scarred and weary, remains silent. The space in my chest, once a gaping wound, has scarred over. It no longer bleeds, but it has not learned how to feel again. The ghost of pine and winter storm, though faint, still lingers. The wraiths are growing bolder. What began as isolated attacks on lone patrols has escalated into coordinated assaults on the borders of multiple packs. They are driven by a singular purpose, drawn to something with an insatiable hunger. Panic is beginning to spread. The old alliances are fraying under the strain. In a desperate bid to form a united front, Alpha Kale calls for a new conclave, an emergency council of war to be held in his territory, in Silver Moon. Alphas from a dozen packs agree to attend, including Alpha Riker of the Blackwood Pack. When Cal tells me, my blood runs cold. The name is a shard of ice in my heart. Riker. He is coming here, to the one place I have found peace. My first instinct is to run, to disappear back into the mountains where he can never find me. But the voice inside me, the one that now speaks with the cool authority of the moon, is firm. You are not the girl who runs. You are the woman who stands her ground. She is right. I am no longer that broken creature kneeling in shattered glass. I am the key to their survival. They need me more than I need them. I will not run. I will face him. I will stand before him as the powerful woman I have become, and I will watch him realize exactly what he threw away. The thought sends a thrill of cold, vengeful satisfaction through me. Let him come. Let him see. The day the alphas are set to arrive, I dress with deliberate care, not in the fine silks Kale offered me, but in the hardened leather armor I wear when I hunt the wraiths. It is practical, formidable, and entirely my own. I braid my hair back, intricate and severe, and carry no adornment but the hunting knife at my hip and the faint, silvery aura of power that now clings to me like a second skin. I am not here to be beautiful. I am here to be feared. I stand beside Kyle on the dais in the great hall, my face a mask of calm indifference. One by one, the alphas enter, their powerful scents filling the air. I greet each with a polite, distant nod, my eyes scanning the entrance. And then he arrives. The moment he steps through the doorway, the world tilts on its axis. The scent of pine and a raging winter storm crashes into me, a physical blow that makes me stagger. It is 1,000 times more potent than my memory of it, raw and desperate and full of a pain that mirrors my own. Our eyes lock across the crowded hall. His golden gaze, once so cold and dismissive, is now a maelstrom of shock, regret, and a desperate, agonizing hunger. He sees me. Not the cowering Omega, but a queen in her own right, standing beside another alpha. The broken mate bond between us, long dormant, screams back to life. It is not the sweet song of recognition from that first day. It is a raw, jagged shriek of agony, a feedback loop of his pain and my own, amplified and reflected back and forth until it is a wonder we do not both collapse. He takes a half step forward, his mouth opening as if to say my name, but no sound comes out. His face is paler, thinner than I remember. There are dark circles under his eyes, and the arrogant confidence he once wore like a mantle is gone, replaced by a haunted, desperate intensity. My scent, the moonflower and rain he once despised, is now laced with the ozone and starlight of my power. I can feel his beast, his lichen, clawing at the inside of his skin, desperate to get to me. Mate. Ours. There. I give him nothing. I turn my head, a slow, deliberate motion, and offer a small, private smile to Kyle, who rests a reassuring hand on the small of my back. The gesture is small, but the message is clear. I am not his. I am with another. I feel the spike of Riker's anguish across the room like a physical wave. The power dynamic has been completely, devastatingly inverted. He is the one on the outside looking in. He is the one desperate for a glance, a word, a sign of recognition. And I, the wolfless Omega he cast aside, am the one who holds all the power. The cold satisfaction I expected is not there. There is only a vast aching emptiness and the terrifying realization that seeing him again hurts more than I ever could have imagined. The council is a study in tension. I stand before the assembled alphas, a lone woman in a sea of powerful males, and I command their attention. I speak of the wraiths, of their nature, their weaknesses. My voice is steady, my words precise. I lay out a strategy, a plan that requires cooperation, that requires them to follow my lead. I can feel Riker's eyes on me the entire time, a burning weight on my skin. I never look at him. I address the council as a whole, but my every word is a stone aimed at his pride. The wraiths are drawn to old power, I explain, my voice cool and clear. But they are destroyed by a new one, a power they thought was extinct. I let my gaze sweep the room, deliberately skipping over him. A power that some were foolish enough to mistake for weakness. The barb hits its mark. I feel his flinch as if I had struck him. A low murmur runs through the alphas. They look from me to him, the story of his infamous rejection suddenly cast in a new, idiotic light. He is no longer the strong alpha who made a hard choice. He is the fool who threw away the world's only weapon against an unstoppable foe. After the formal session, he tries to approach me. I see him coming, weaving through the crowd, his expression a mask of grim determination. My heart hammers against my ribs, a traitorous drumbeat of fear, and something else I refuse to name. Kyle steps smoothly in front of me, a subtle but effective shield. Alpha Riker, Kyle says, his voice polite but firm. A word. Riker's eyes blaze, but he's trapped by decorum. Alpha Kale, I need to speak with Ilara. Her name is Lady Ilara, Kale corrects him gently, and she is currently occupied. Perhaps later. I use the opportunity to slip away, my breath coming in ragged gasps. I find refuge on a secluded balcony overlooking the moonlit gardens. The cold night air does little to cool the fire in my veins. The proximity to him is agony. The bond, raw and inflamed, is a constant torment, pulling me toward him even as my mind screams to run away. A footstep behind me makes me spin around, my hand instinctively going to my knife. It's him. He ignored call, followed me. He stands in the doorway, blocking my only exit, his large frame silhouetted against the torchlight of the hallway. Ilara, he breathes, and my name on his lips is both a prayer and a curse. There is nothing you have to say that I want to hear. Alpha Riker, I say, my voice dripping with ice. I put every ounce of my newfound authority, every ounce of my pain, into the words. Please, he says, and the word is so broken, so unlike the arrogant Alpha I remember, that it startles me. He takes a step into the moonlight, and I see the full extent of his suffering. This is not the magnificent, powerful male who rejected me. This is a ghost, haunted and hollowed out by his own mistake. Please, just let me. I have to. He looks at me, and his carefully constructed composure shatters. His eyes, those molten gold eyes, are filled with a torment that mirrors my own. They don't know, he whispers, his voice raw. No one knows what my beast did afterward, what he does to me every single day. He takes another step closer, his hands clenched at his sides. He is screaming. He has been screaming since the moment I turned my back on you, and I deserve it. The Alliance is a fragile, ugly thing, born of desperation. We need the strength of the Blackwood Pack's warriors, and they need my light to keep the Wraiths at bay. The arrangement forces us into a proximity that is a unique and exquisite form of torture. We spend our days in the training yard, our nights hunched over strategic maps. We move in a tight, suffocating orbit, never touching, rarely speaking, but always aware of each other. The air between us crackles with unspoken words and the violent thrum of our broken bond. His warriors watch us, their expressions a mixture of confusion and fear. They see their Alpha, a shell of the leader he once was, following the commands of the woman he publicly shamed. They see his eyes track my every move, a desperate, hungry look that he does not bother to hide. And they see me, cold and implacable, treating him with a detached professionalism that is more insulting than any overt hatred. One afternoon, during a grueling training session, a young Blackwood warrior fumbles a defensive maneuver I was teaching. A simulated wraith, a construct of shadow and fear I create for practice, lunges for him. Before I can dissolve it, Riker is there. He moves with a speed and ferocity I have not seen since I left, throwing himself in front of his warrior and taking the brunt of the shadow construct's psychic attack. He staggers back, a hand to his temple, his face pale. Focus! He snarls at the young wolf, his voice rough with pain. The Lady Ilara's instructions are not suggestions. Your hesitation could get someone killed. He turns to me, his golden eyes filled with a weary apology. My apologies, my lady. It will not happen again. He calls me my lady with a rigid formality that sets my teeth on edge. It is a constant acknowledgement of my new status, my power over him. It is a part of his penance, I realize, a self-flagellation that is both pathetic and, to a dark part of my soul, deeply satisfying. Later that evening, long after the others have retired, I find him in the armory, sharpening a sword with vicious, angry strokes. The rasp of steel on stone is the only sound. He does not seem to have slept in days. "You can't keep doing that," I say, my voice echoing in the stone chamber. He doesn't look up. "Doing what, my lady?" "Throwing yourself in front of every blow meant for me or your men. You're the alpha. If you fall, your pack's morale breaks." It's a logical, strategic point, but we both know that's not what I'm really saying. He finally stops, setting the sword down with a soft click. He turns to face me, and the raw despair on his face steals my breath. "Then let it break," he says, his voice a low, ragged whisper. "It's already broken. I broke it, the day I broke us." My carefully constructed walls tremble. "There is no us," I say, my voice colder than I feel. "Isn't there?" He takes a step closer, and the scent of pine and storm, now laced with the sharp tang of his suffering, wraps around me. "Then what is this? This agony that rips me apart every time I look at you? This, this screaming in my head that only stops when I'm near you? My lichen has not spoken a single word to me. That wasn't your name in almost a year, Ilara. He is killing me from the inside out. And the worst part is, he's right." He stops just a few feet from me, close enough that I can feel the heat radiating from his body. He doesn't try to touch me. He just looks at me, his heart in his eyes. "I was a fool," he says, his voice cracking. "A proud, arrogant fool. I was raised to believe that power was everything, that any perceived weakness had to be cut out. My father, he taught me that an alpha's duty is to the pack's strength above all else, above his own heart, above the fates themselves." He shakes his head, a bitter, self-deprecating laugh escaping his lips. "I saw you, and my entire world tilted. You were everything my beast wanted, everything my soul recognized. And it terrified me, because you were not what I was taught to want. You were not a warrior princess, or the daughter of an alpha. You were you, and I was too weak, too much of a coward to see that you were more than enough. I chose my father's approval. I chose the pack's image. I chose pride. And in doing so, I doomed myself." He sinks to his knees. The sound of his armor clattering on the stone floor is shockingly loud in the silence. An alpha kneeling. To me. My breath catches in my throat. "I don't ask for your forgiveness," he says, his head bowed, his eyes fixed on the floor. "I have no right. I will never be worthy of it. I just need you to know. I know what I did. I know the pain I caused you. I see it every time I close my eyes. And if I could go back, I would burn my entire world to the ground to change it. I would trade my pack, my title, my very life for the chance to undo that single moment." He looks up at me then, his golden eyes swimming with unshed tears. "I am yours to command, Ilara, in this fight and in everything after. My life is forfeit to you. Do with it what you will. Just don't leave me again." The confession hangs in the air between us, raw and absolute. It is everything I ever wanted to hear. It is a complete surrender, a full accounting of his sin, with no excuses, and it breaks my heart all over again. Before I can find my voice, before I can process the sight of this powerful alpha broken at my feet, another voice interrupts the charged silence. "Ilara?" It's Kale. He stands in the doorway, his kind face troubled. He takes in the scene, me standing, Riker kneeling, and his expression hardens with a sad understanding. He looks from Riker's desperate face to my conflicted one. He steps into the room, his presence a calm, steadying anchor in the storm of my emotions. He doesn't look at Riker. He looks only at me. I once told you that you deserved to be a jewel, not a stone, he says softly. I also believe you deserve to be someone's first and only choice, not their safe harbor. He glances at Riker, still kneeling on the floor, and a look of profound pity crosses his features. Some bonds, however broken, cannot be denied. They can only be reforged. He turns back to me, his hand briefly touching my arm. The contact is warm, brotherly. My pack will follow your lead against the Wraiths, Ilara, and my friendship will always be yours, if you will have it. But your heart has a battle to fight that I cannot help you win. He gives me a sad, knowing smile. Don't choose the man who is good for you. Choose the man who you cannot live without, even if he is a fool who almost lost you. With a final respectful nod, he turns and leaves, closing the door softly behind him. He has gracefully, and with immense dignity, removed himself from the equation. He has left me alone with my tormentor, my mate, and the impossible choice he represents. The final battle comes not on an open field, but in a place of sacred, hidden power. My scrying, guided by the whispers of the moon, has revealed the Wraith's ultimate target, the Well of Moonlight, a hidden cavern deep within Blackwood territory. It is an ancient lunar site, a place where the veil between worlds is thin, and it is the source from which my own power springs. The Master Wraith, the sentient darkness controlling the Horde, intends to corrupt it, to turn its healing light into a wellspring of shadow that will blanket the world. We march into the heart of Riker's lands, an uneasy alliance of Silvermoon and Blackwood warriors, led by a woman he cast out. The irony is a bitter pill I know he swallows with every step. The air grows colder as we approach the cavern, the scent of decay and despair so thick it is almost a taste. The wraiths are waiting for us. The battle is chaos. It is a whirlwind of silver light and snarling wolves against silent, shifting shadows. I am a beacon in the darkness. My lunar fire the only thing that can permanently destroy the creatures. I move through the battlefield, a whirlwind of destruction, my power singing in my veins. But there are too many. For everyone I vanquish, two more seem to rise from the shadows. They are a tide of blackness, and we are a small island of defiance about to be swept away. Their goal is me. They ignore the wolves as much as possible, their every movement an attempt to get closer, to surround me, to cut me off from the others. Riker and his elite guard form a protective circle around me, a living wall of fang and claw. He fights with the ferocity of a demon, his lichen finally unleashed, but his eyes never leave me. He is a shield, a bulwark, his entire focus narrowed to my survival. The Master Wraith appears. It rises from the ground in the center of the cavern, a towering monstrosity of solidified nightmare, its red eyes burning with a malevolent intelligence. It is focused solely on the well, which pulses with a soft, silvery light behind it. I know what I have to do. I need to channel the well's full power, to unleash a wave of light so pure it will cleanse the entire cavern. But to do so, I will have to stand still. I will be vulnerable. I need to get to the well, I shout to Riker over the din of battle. I need time. His eyes meet mine across the fray. He understands immediately. Buy her time, he roars to the combined packs. To the last wolf, buy her time. The warriors rally a desperate, valiant charge to hold back the tide. Riker fights his way to my side. Go! He pants, his flank bleeding from a deep gash. We will hold them. I run, my feet flying over the stone floor. I reach the edge of the glowing pool of light, the air humming with power. I can feel the wraiths surging behind me, the wolves being overwhelmed. I close my eyes, reaching out with my senses to draw upon the immense energy of the well. The power is staggering, a universe of moonlight waiting to be unleashed. But it will take every ounce of my concentration. A wave of psychic despair, far stronger than any before, washes over me from the master wraith. My focus shatters. The power recoils. The creature is trying to break my will. I stumble, crying out as the shadows in my own mind, the memories of my rejection, my exile, my loneliness, rise up to choke me. Just as I feel myself beginning to falter, to drown in the darkness, a voice cuts through the chaos. Ilara! It is Riker. He is standing a few feet away, his body battered, his armor dented. The Master Wraith looms behind him, but he only has eyes for me. He sees my struggle, sees the power faltering. And in that moment, he makes a choice. He drops his sword. He turns his back on the enemy. And in front of his pack, the allied pack, and the legions of darkness, he does the one thing an alpha is never supposed to do. He goes to his knees. He bows his head, and with a slow, deliberate movement, he bares his throat in the ultimate gesture of submission, not to the enemy, but to me. His voice rings out, a deep, resonant growl that cuts through the noise of battle and the whispers of despair. It is not a plea. It is a vow, a transfer of power. My life, my pack, my will. It is all yours, Ilara. I was a fool to ever think I could lead without you. You are our alpha now. You are our queen. Command us, my lady. Command me. Section, this is it. The public reversal. The ultimate grovel. He has not just given me his heart. He has given me his crown, his authority, his very identity as alpha. He is placing his pack's survival and his own entirely in my hands. He is proving, with an action more powerful than any words, that he has changed. He is not the man who rejected me. He is the man who would kneel for me. And in that moment, watching this proud, broken man sacrifice his last shred of pride for me, the ice around my heart finally completely shatters. The rage that has fueled me for so long dissolves, replaced by a wave of emotion so powerful it brings me to my knees as well. Love, fierce, painful, and undeniable. I reach out, my glowing hand trembling, and touch his cheek. The contact is electric. The bond, so long a source of pain, floods with warmth, with light, with a rightness that settles deep in my soul. Riker, I whisper, and my name on his lips was a curse, but his name on mine is an absolution. It is my choice. Mine, his wolf sings in my head, a joyous, triumphant song, no longer a roar of possession, but a harmony of reunion. Ours, my own power sings back. The bond snaps into place, whole and complete. A tidal wave of power, his and mine, surges between us. The raw, physical strength of his alpha blood, intertwined with the pure, celestial magic of my lunar heritage. We are two halves of a perfect whole, a balance of earth and sky, of night and moon. I rise, pulling him to his feet. We do not need to speak. We turn to face the Master Wraith together. He stands at my back, a solid, grounding presence, his strength flowing into me, anchoring me as I draw upon the well. This time, there is no hesitation. The power of the moon answers my call without reservation, flooding my senses, filling the cavern with a light so brilliant it is almost blinding. I unleash it. A wave of pure, white-hot silver energy erupts from my body, shaped and amplified by Riker's own alpha power. It is not just a light, it is a cleansing fire. It washes over the battlefield, and where it touches the wraiths, they do not just dissolve, they are annihilated, turning to dust and then to nothing, their psychic screams silenced forever. The wave slams into the master wraith, which reels back, its form flickering and destabilizing under the onslaught of a power it was made to fear. Riker roars, a true alpha's battle cry, and leaps forward, his claws extended. He is no longer just a wolf. He is an avatar of primal strength, empowered by my light. He tears into the Master Wraith's faltering form, his physical fury a perfect complement to my ethereal magic. Together, we are its undoing. He rips the creature's shadowy heart out as I pour the last of the well's energy into its core. With a final, silent implosion, the Master Wraith, the great and terrible darkness, is gone. Silence descends upon the cavern. The only sound is the heavy panting of the exhausted warriors and the soft, gentle hum of the restored well of moonlight. The surviving wolves from both packs stare at us, their eyes wide with awe. They saw their alpha kneel. They saw him submit. And then they saw our combined power save them all. Riker turns to me, his body bruised and bleeding, but his golden eyes are clear and bright for the first time since I have known him. The haunted look is gone, replaced by a reverence and a love so profound it makes my heart ache. He does not try to touch me, does not presume. He waits. In the aftermath, a new order is forged. Riker remains Alpha of the Blackwood Pack, but his authority is now shared. I am not his Luna, a title that implies a subordinate role. I am the lunar matriarch, a sovereign power in my own right, bound to him not by pack law but by a bond of fate that we have both now chosen. We rule as equals, a king and queen with a shared throne. His pack, having witnessed his submission and our combined victory, accepts this new dynamic with a reverence that borders on worship. They see what he now sees, that my perceived weakness was always my greatest strength. The secondary love interest, Kale, becomes our staunchest ally and dearest friend. He treats us both with a warm, genuine respect, his quiet wisdom often serving as a balm during the difficult process of rebuilding and uniting the packs. There is no jealousy, no lingering resentment. He is a good man who wanted what was best for me, and he is content to see me whole and happy, even if it is not with him. Our new dynamic is one of scarred but healing partnership. We learn each other again, not as an alpha and an omega, but as Riker and Alara. We talk for hours, sharing the stories of our time apart, my brutal survival and discovery, his agonizing torment and regret. We do not hide our scars. We acknowledge them as a part of the tapestry of our story, the painful threads that make the final picture all the more beautiful. The completion of our bond has not erased the past, but it has allowed us to begin building a future. 1 year later, we stand on the high precipice overlooking the Blackwood Valley, the very spot where I was once meant to be presented as Luna, the spot that became the stage for my humiliation. Below, the pack is gathered for the annual conclave, but this time, it is a celebration of unity, not a display of dominance. The scent of pine and winter storm from him, and moonflower and rain from me are no longer at war. They are a single, harmonious fragrance that speaks of balance and strength. I am pregnant. The child within me is a new promise, a being who will carry both the strength of the wolf and the magic of the moon. They will be the first of a new line, a symbol of our hard-won peace. Riker wraps his arms around me from behind, his chin resting on my shoulder. He no longer looks at our people with the arrogance of a ruler, but with the quiet, fierce protectiveness of a guardian. He has become the man he was always meant to be, the man his beast knew he could be. I will spend every day of the rest of my life, he murmurs, his voice a low rumble against my ear, proving I am worthy of the woman I was too blind to see. I turn in his arms, my hand coming up to cup his jaw. The scars are still there on both of us, faint silver lines on our souls. But they are no longer wounds. They are reminders of the price we paid for this peace, for this love. You already have my love, I whisper. You already have. I rise on my toes and kiss him. It is not a kiss of frantic passion or desperate relief. It is a kiss of deep, abiding peace, of coming home. It is a kiss that promises a lifetime of sunrises, of shared burdens and quiet joys. It is the kiss of two souls, once violently torn apart, now irrevocably, beautifully, and finally whole. The journey was a descent into hell for both of us, but the destination, here in his arms, under the watchful eye of the moon, feels very much like heaven. We are earned, scarred, but complete, and that is more than enough.